for a novel that mixes a murder mystery with a very interesting fantasy world, then I think I may have found the one for you. Hello my friends, my name is AJ and welcome back to my book nook, and welcome back to another Canadian author spotlight. Today we are going to be talking about the book Witchmark by C.L. Polk. So C.L. Polk is a Canadian author originally from British Columbia and now residing in Calgary, Alberta, and they have released 4 novels. Witchmark was their debut novel, which was released in 2018 and is the first book in the Kingston cycle. There's also been 2 more books in the Kingston cycle called Storm Song and Soul Star, which were released in 2020 and 2021 respectively, and they've also released their other novel, The Midnight Bargain, which was released in 2020. Witchmark was their debut novel, as I've mentioned, and it actually won the World Fantasy Award for 2018. Going into this novel, I didn't actually know much about it, and I hadn't actually heard of the author before, but I was very excited to give it a shot as I'm a big fan of fantasy novels, and I definitely was not disappointed. So Witchmark tells a story of a character by the name of Dr. Miles Singer, who is a former war doctor who now works at a failing veterans hospital. Miles has a big secret. He has healing magic and has been on the run for years from his controlling family, who would see him enslaved to use his power, and from the threat of being locked up into a witch's asylum. When a dying witch comes to him claiming that he has been poisoned, his identity is put at risk as he is thrown into a world of political intrigue and betrayal as he tries to solve this man's murder. So let's talk a little bit about the things that I really liked about this book. So first and foremost, let's just cover some admin things. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. I know I bring this up all the time, but a really nice cover can really tie your whole novel together, you know? It's gonna be something that catches people's eye. It's gonna make them want to grab it off the shelf and take a look at it, especially if they're not familiar with you and your work before. And this book definitely does that. It also has like a really nice matte feeling to it, which again, I've mentioned in my video where I talk about what I like in covers. I really like nice textures and stuff, so I really enjoyed that. And just another little thing, all of the chapters have title names, which I really like because you don't see that often anymore, so whenever I see it, it always just makes me very happy. The main character in this book, Miles, is also gay, so if you're looking for a book with some representation, then this is definitely a good one to pick up. And it's very cool because, as I mentioned, it's a murder mystery. I did not know that going into this book. Nothing about what I found about this book told me that it was a murder mystery, and I was so pleasantly surprised by that because I'm a massive mystery fan. I was really intrigued by that aspect of it, and I almost wish we could have had more of that, honestly, because there was so much going on and so many mysteries, not just the murder mystery, but within the magical system itself. And it's just so well balanced and well done. Speaking of the magical system, the way that it's introduced and the way the world is introduced is done really well. I've mentioned before that I like to be thrown into the world and be treated as if I know what the world is, and I find that that's the best way to become comfortable with it. And that doesn't always necessarily mean getting a lot of information right away, because that really does just seem like getting exposition. But what that can mean is getting the information about the world gradually as it becomes pertinent to the story. And that's exactly what this book did. A lot of times information wasn't revealed to you until later, and it was only revealed when it became important to the story. And the way that it was revealed very slowly in that sense was very well done, and I really liked that because it helped to build the world up slowly, and it didn't feel too overwhelming to understand the magic system, and it didn't feel like it was being spoon-fed information either. Miles is a really awesome character to read. He deals with a lot of PTSD, both from his childhood and also from his time in the war, and I think that you see that, as well as his survivor's guilt from his time in the war, comes across really well. You see him being very cautious and somewhat timid at some points, but you also do see that strength that he has within him. He hasn't given up on who he is as a person, and the things that he's been through do not define him, but we still do see that they have an effect on him, and I thought that that was very well done. I thought Miles was a very well written character. Another character that I really liked was Miles' sister, Grace. Grace is a very fun character to read. She believes in following tradition, but she also wants things to become better, and she doesn't really see a way that they can become better without following certain rules of the magic system. I really like Grace because I feel like we don't see a lot of characters like that. They want to do the right thing, but they're not quite sure how, and a lot of times that leads to them doing things that other members of the group that they're part of don't necessarily agree with. And I found that Grace was very interesting because you never quite knew if you could trust her or not, because you never quite knew, like, is she just trying to play him to get what she wants, or is she genuinely trying to do the right thing? And I really enjoyed reading her. She was one of my favorite characters to read. One of the things that I do think that this book needs to work on is just, it needs to be fleshed out. I think that's the best way to describe all of my complaints with it. A lot of the characters, we didn't get to see much development of them. They were very flat through the whole thing. We don't really see much growth for most of the characters, and a lot of them sort of just seemed like they were just there as props for the story, and they didn't really have much personality to them at all. I'm sure that with the other books in the series, maybe this is expanded upon a bit more, and maybe we get to see them grow a little bit more, but I would have liked to see just a little bit of growth of some of those characters and a little bit more elaboration on their personalities within this book. It's the same thing with the way that the magic works. I have mentioned that I really liked the magical system, and I think that the hierarchy was explained well, but the magic itself, I felt like just was under-explained. Especially when you get to some of the other characters, it's not super clear what their powers are capable of, and as Miles is learning to use his powers, it's not super clear how that training is working. I just found it a little bit confusing. And another thing I found a bit more confusing was the Aether, which is sort of the power source of the world. And I may be describing that incorrectly just because I felt like it wasn't fleshed out enough either. I found it a bit hard to understand what it was, and I think I understood that it was sort of like the power system of the world, but like I said, I could be confused about that just because I felt like it could have just used a bit more fleshing out. Overall, I really like Witchmark. I think it is a fantastic novel. I will definitely be looking for the other books in the series. If you're looking for a fantasy novel with a very cool magic system and a murder mystery, then I suggest that you give it a shot. It's very good, and I definitely think that it's a bit underrated because I haven't really seen anyone talking about it. Just like I said, I feel like I could use a bit more fleshing out, but I guess we'll see in the future books in the series whether that problem gets solved itself. But that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments below, have you read Witchmark before, and did you enjoy it, or did this video make you want to read this book? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation with all of you, and as always, I have included links to all of the authors' socials and websites that I could find down in the description below so that you can go and show them some love as well. But that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see all of you lovely people in the next video.